Welcome to the GI Show on the road. I'm your host, TMR. We're going to get to some interviews, but first, I got to get a haircut at Edge Productions. Shout out to Chico from Edge Productions, always supporting us. Yo, what's up? We're on the road. We're heading up to Dallas to visit a friend, one of our veteran friends. Well, I'll see y'all in a minute. Hey man, what's going on?
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you too. Great. Let's get it started. Welcome to another episode of the GI Show. I am your host, TMR. I am here with a wonderful guest. He is known around the world for his photography, the face behind the wonderful photos. His name is Joel Parés. Everybody give a round of applause for Joel Parés. It's so cheesy because, you see I add the sound effects and stuff like that. It's so crazy. How would you describe yourself?
Well, I'm first known as a photographer. That's the way I introduce myself to everybody. Most of the stuff that I do is composite work. I also do retouching for multiple clients.
Awesome. So what is composite work for those who don't know?
Well, composite work is where you have multiple images to make one final image. There's a couple images, like the Mustang image that I shot. It has the Mustang that I shot in the tunnel, which is one image of myself being the robber holding on to the back of the Mustang, and two other images for my legs to make it look like I'm flying, and then the other image of the female driving the car, and that's what composite work is.
On your website, you actually show the different layers of the composite.
I have a retouching tab down there that has all the layers and all the work that it took to get to the final image.
Where did that whole idea of showing people the different layers come in?
I've shot for a lot of models and I've shot for a lot of people. A lot of people don't understand how much work photography is. They think that you take the picture and that's how it comes out of the camera. Each image took me a day and a half to do. More than 10 hours of non-stop on the computer because I don't stop until it's done. There's a price that I charge for my photos, and people will need to understand why I charge that price, because you see the very beginning and how many changes I did and what it took.
Once they see the different layers and you're like, yo, this is my price, and they're like, okay, I get it now, or what's usually the response?
There's a lot of people that say I'm like one of the best in the area. Their response is always like, well, sometimes they can't afford me, and that's fine with me. I don't want to be the one that just anybody can go to. Your mom and pop can come to me for a family portrait. That's not what I do. I do more elaborate scenes. I do things that take a lot of time and effort, something that makes people say, wow. So do that. It takes a lot of time, so a lot of time equals a lot of money. My time is not really that cheap, so I don't know how else to put it.
I don't blame you. What has been your most successful project that has made people go, wow?
My most successful project is a series that I made called Judging America. It's pretty much two images that are put side by side, one being the image of the category that people are put in because of the color of their skin or their ethnicity. And then the other image on the right side is who they really are, their job and their name. It's not necessarily that they dress with a gun or with an AK-47 or whatever it may be, but they are the person on the right side. Say the terrorist, she's a nurse, she has a little pin here that's an American flag, a heart, and she loves America. But because of the color of her skin or her ethnicity being from the Middle East, people automatically link her to people from 9/11 or the Taliban or something like that. That was the reason why I decided to make that. I actually had friends from India. When I was stationed in Beaufort, South Carolina, they would walk down the road with me and people would drive by and call them terrorists, and they would mock them in their certain accents, just their language. It was time that I took a stand, and now that I finally figured out my talent, my gift, I use that to be my voice, to hopefully make a change, make a difference in the world. It took about 3 or 4 months for F-stoppers to pick it up, and then once they wrote it, Petapixel, and then everybody picked it up from Spain, Yahoo. It was on Elite Daily. It was on Huffington Post. It was all over the world. South America, Asia, Europe. I got an opportunity to go on TV just a few months ago.
Could you tell me how'd you end up getting in the Marine Corps and how'd you make this decision?
Getting in the Marine Corps pretty much was just, it's something I've always wanted to do all my life. You would see the commercials and everything, just like these guys are freaking badass. My father was in the military, my uncles, and everybody was in either Air Force or Army, and I would be the first Marine in my entire family. And I always saw the Marines as the best of the best. There's nobody better than us. 2005, I tried to join. I was going to go infantry. My mom had a heart attack. She didn't literally have a heart attack, but she cried almost every day. I got out of the DEP program. She made me second guess myself. Now I'm gonna go as airwing. You know, that way my mom will be a little happier. She won't freak out, even though she still did. Honestly, I didn't feel so much of the Marine part that I wanted to feel. The toughness. I mean, those times in Korea and other places where we were in tents and stuff like that. The only time I felt like a badass Marine is when I was a martial arts instructor. I worked my way up to a black belt instructor, and that happened about a year and a half before I actually got out of the Marines. I loved being a Marine Corps martial arts instructor.
Where were you actually stationed?
I actually went to boot camp in San Diego. Somehow I got stationed in Beaufort, South Carolina. There was always that competition, you know, which boot camp is tougher, San Diego or Parris Island. But yeah, I'm proud to say I'm from San Diego, MCRD San Diego.
Could you tell me a little bit about your childhood and your first introduction to photography?
My father, he was in the Air Force and he traveled a lot. He had this little 35. Should we do that again?
No, you're good. That was a good. He had a 35. That was right. That means it was right.
Yes, it was more of a hobby for him. I always saw how amazing his pictures came out. On top of that, my mom, she was a model in Puerto Rico. I just think it's in my blood. On my last deployment in the Marines, I was in Japan. I was going through this tough time because, you know, you break up with your girl. I was a sergeant living on my own, and, you know, things were going through my head. So I was like, I need a hobby. I was like, you know what? There's Skylines out here. There's Sylvia. So let me buy a camera. I invested in buying a little Nikon D90, and I went out and I took some pictures and I started messing with Photoshop. I started spending 8 hours a day after work taking pictures in Photoshop. It's all I did for the rest of the deployment. And honestly, I didn't even know if I wanted to be a photographer. I just liked it. I got out in October of that year. I went on terminal October 2011, came back to the Dallas area. I had to make a decision. Do I want to go to school and go for electrical engineering, or do I want to do something that's going to make me happy? I want to be happy instead of rich, you know, and I figure if you do what you love to the best of your ability, you know, you're going to be successful. Success is not measured by the amount of money in the bank. It's measured by the peace that you have.
Wow, and the rest is history. Thank you, Joel, for letting us come into your wonderful environment, your photography world. We'll see you next time on the GI Show.
Thank you.
Peace. With a wonderful guest. He is known around the world for his photography, the face behind the wonderful photos. His name is Joel Parés.